Hello friends, welcome back to another session of Docker. In this session we will learn the basic terminology and some of the fundamental concept of networking. Basically networking in Docker is also important because Docker is also creating a virtual machine similar to virtual machine only, but we'll call it container. So that is treating as one individual computer, or you can say that one individual system, and system need all these resources. They should have a hardware, so hardware it will be there, their operating system will be there, so yeah, operating system also will be there in that, software in that is required, plus networking and data storage. So all these part of the systems are required in container also. So containers need networking also, because networking is again part of your computer system. So Docker has introduced itself a Docker networking feature. We will learn first what is networking, what are the concept of a networking, and then we will do the networking in our Docker. So networking in Docker is used to communicate between the containers. Anyway, networking is used to communicate only, and Docker host machine and the Docker container can be running on a single machine or can be running on multiple nodes. There is a chances that our Docker container can be run in a single machine, or it can run on a cluster also. If it is running on a cluster, then also you have to make the communication, or if it is running in a single machine, then also you might need to communicate with that. So that communication is happening through networking. So few terminologies are there for networking, we will learn those first. So networking will have a node. What is node? You understand like that individual computer on the network is called as a node. One computer is one node. Suppose if there is a 10 computer in your room and all 10 computers are connected to each other through wireless or wired network, any of them, the medium can be anything, connection medium can be anything, that can be connected with the wire, or that they can be connected with the Wi-Fi, but anyway they are connected. So that each computer, individual computer, called as a node. In networking terms, we can say that a network node is a connection point. Just simply it is a connection or communication network. Each node is an endpoint for a data transmission and redistributions. A computer on a network is called a node. So it's a one endpoint from where the data is traveling from one point to another point. The data is traveling, it means both are communication endpoint. Suppose from computer A to computer B we have to send a data. So from computer A to computer B, if the data is sent successfully, we can say that data traveled from computer A to computer B, and we can say like that from one networking endpoint, data is sent to another communication endpoint. So generally we can conclude that node is nothing but the endpoint of the data, that can be a source or destination, and we can simplify that one. We can say that one computer called a node in the network that will send or receive the data. So that is nothing but node. Next is Ethernet. What is Ethernet? Ethernet is a traditional technology for connecting device in a wide local area network or wide area network. It enables device to communicate with each other via some protocol. So Ethernet will introduce some protocol, like the data has to be traveled in form of HTTP or FTP or SMTP, any of them. These are the protocols how the data has to flow. So that responsibility is taken by your Ethernet. It will communicate, it will connect the nodes, or it will it will connect the networks. Network can be LAN or WAN. What is LAN network? What is LAN network? Local area network is a computer network that interconnects computer within the limited area. Suppose in your home there are 5 computers. That 5 computers you are connecting with each other with the help of wire. So you can say that this is a LAN, that is a local area network. The 5 computers of your home are connected with each other. That connection medium can be anything, like that they are connected with the wire or they are connected with the Wi-Fi. That doesn't matter. But that is a LAN because that is a local network. Or else you take example of a school or of small office or one building or university, college, something like that. Laboratory, one laboratory has a 10 computers, or computers are connected with each other. So that is called LAN, local area network, within your boundary, within your buildings. And what is MAN? MAN is nothing but the collection of LAN. Simply you can say that in my home 5 computers are there, in my neighbor's home 5 computers are there. Suppose in my home 5 computers are there, my neighbor's is there, he or she has 10 computers or 6 computers. That computers are also connected with each other. My computers are also connected with my 5 computers with each other, and these two different LANs I am connecting with the help of wire or with the help of any other Wi-Fi or any other medium. So that is called MAN. Like more than one LANs are there that are connected with the help of some networking technology. Some networking technology they are using to connect. So that is called LAN. Oh sorry, MAN. MAN means you can say that the collection of LAN. Okay. Next is a wide area network. Wide area network, more than one WAN. You can say that one geographical throughout the world, throughout the entire country, entire world. The computers, the all LAN or MAN networks are connected. That is called wide area network. Telecommunications, like suppose if I have to send a message to you, you are staying in Delhi, I am staying at Bengaluru, or I am staying at Hyderabad, you are staying at Chennai. I have to send a message to you. So how is it possible? Through communication only it is possible. So that is called wide area network. The network is wide. I can send you message through WhatsApp or Facebook or any other means. And if you are connected to the WAN, if you are connected to the WAN, that is nothing but internet. If you are connected to that one, you will get the message. If you are not connected, you will not get. Similarly, that is a wide area network. Okay. Next is a router. Router is a simple devices that will route the package from one source to another destination. A router is a device connected to or more packet switches, network or subnetwork. It serves two primary function: managing the traffic between these network by forwarding data packets on their intent IP address and following multiple devices to use same internet connection. You understand like that. If you are in your home, 5 computers are there. That 5 computers, how you are connecting to those computers? There must be some devices. Suppose you have a Wi-Fi in your home, and all computers, all your laptop or mobile phone, you are connecting to that Wi-Fi. In your home, one Wi-Fi is there, one Wi-Fi device is there. You are connecting your phone or laptop or any other computer with that Wi-Fi. It means that is the hub of your computers. All computers are connected to that router only. So that is nothing but your router. That router is assigning one IP address to your machine. That is a job of router. Router will assign some IP address. Suppose for the router I have connected 10 computers, 10 mobile phone, or you can say that any other desktop computer or laptop. So each device will get one IP address. That IP address will be assigned by the router, and router use that IP address to send the message. Suppose in your, I want to send message to in the other devices, how it will go? Through IP address only. So it will be communicated within the IP address. Okay. Fine. Next is a switch. Switch is the network devices that is used to segment the network into different sub network called subnet or LAN segment. It is responsible for filtering and forwarding the packet between LAN segment based on the MAC address. Okay. Next is DNS, domain name server. Domain name server is responsible to resolve the IP address with the logical name. You understand like that. Suppose from browser, if you type www.google.com, so you will see the Google search page. Simple. That is the general scenario here. So what does it mean of www.google.com? Is it IP address? But internally it works as an IP address. That is not IP address. It is very difficult to remember the IP address of the machine. If I want to communicate to some devices, device A, device B, device C, if I call them device A, device B, device C, I can remember. But if I give the IP address for first one 173, second for 174, third 173, something like that, if I give, I will definitely forgot that IP address, and if it is a huge computers, you cannot remember. For that purpose, they are following one concept of a type of phone book. They are mapping, and the mapping job is done by DNS. They are mapping the IP address with some logical name. So that if you call to that logical name will resolve with the IP address. That job is done by DNS, responsible for translating domain name into the specific IP address, so that the initiating client can be loaded and requested on internet resources. Domain name server is the phone book of the internet. Simply, for internet it is a phone book. Okay, that's it. DNS server eliminates the need to human memorize IP address, such as this IP address in IPv4 or a more complex, the newer alphabet IPv6. This type of address will be there. IP6. It's very hard to remember because IP addresses format is also changing time to time. You cannot memorize it like that. So instead of that one, you can use DNS. Okay. Next is a gateway. Gateway and subnet is important. We will see this in our upcoming sessions also with the practical. So gateway is nothing but the device or node that connect disparate network by translating communication from the protocol to another. A gateway is a network node used for telecommunication that connects to network or a different transmission. Suppose I have one LAN in my home. My neighbors also has a LAN in his home, and these both LAN I am connecting with each other. Suppose one home, in my home 5 computers are there, and I made a LAN for that one. In my neighbors, he also have 6 or 7 computers, and he made one LAN in his home. But these two LANs we want to connect with each other. So there must be some entry point, his side and my side, both sides it should be. That is nothing but your gateway. Gateway is the entry point that is used to entering into the LAN network. That is called gateway. Okay. Subnet is inside your gateway. How many computers are there? 10 computers are there, 5 computers are there, 6 computers are there. Each computer, how you are giving the naming, how you are distributing the IP address to them, there is some logic behind it. Suppose my gateway IP address starts from 50.40.0.1. Then other computer network, other computers IP address should be coming within that range only. 50.40.0.2, 50.40.0.3, 0.4, like that. That is the job done by the gateway. Gateway is the entry point of a LAN network. Subnet is what? Subnet is just distributing the IP address to the LAN network, that is called a subnet. Okay, that's it. Like this, suppose this is your complete network. This node again has a lot of computers that you divided here. You can see here, this is your subnet. Okay, you can see that when bigger network is divided into small network to maintain the security, then it is known as subnetting. Okay, we'll see through the example and you will understand more about it. Okay, so these are the some basic terminologies about the networking: node, ethernet, LAN, MAN, WAN, router, switch, DNS, gateway, subnet. Okay, now how Docker is supporting all this? How Docker is supporting network? Docker supports networking concept through network driver. Docker has some driver, and that driver is used to make the communication between the container of the Docker. So there are total 6 type of drivers are there, but the majorly used are the first two: bridge network and overlay network. Bridge network is the default one, and this is a single host. Overlay network is the clustered networking driver. Suppose you are running one cluster. You understand what is cluster? Cluster means you have 5 computers, and that computers you are managing from a single node. That is a cluster. Suppose I have one application and I want to deploy my application across the cluster, across the computers. Suppose one application I want to deploy in 3 computers. How can I do it? How it is possible? The one way, you manually install the application using Docker or using the traditional approach. You manually run that application in different computers. That is a one option to do. Second option, you create a cluster for that 3 computers, and that cluster you manage from a single master node, or you can single from manager node, and you deploy that your application across the cluster. So overlay network is used to do the cluster, and cluster will be used to deploy the application, manage the container. We'll see this in our example. IP VLAN and MAC VLAN, that is for legacy application. Suppose the application is not running in container. You are running the latest approach you are following. You have deployed, you have installed the Docker, and you are deploying your application using Docker. But one more application that is running from last 10 year or 50 year, and it is deployed in a single machine, and it's working fine. You don't want to disturb that one. You don't want to touch that application because that application is working very well. So in that case, you need to communicate with that application without installing any Docker or any other in that machine, because you don't want to do that. So for that purpose, you have to use IP VLAN or MAC VLAN. MAC VLAN will use MAC address of the host machine, but IP VLAN will use IP address of the host machine. But we will not see this one because this is deprecated and no one is using. Host network is nothing but assigning the host IP address to the container. The same IP address will be assigned to the container. In case of bridge or overlay, the container will get the different IP address. In case of bridge network or overlay network, the container will get different IP address for each container. But in case of host network, the container will get the same IP address that is taken by your host machine. Will not create any other IP. Okay, either MAC VLAN or host VLAN, both are same. For communication purpose, MAC VLAN is using MAC IP address. Okay, null means your container will not get any IP address. Okay, that is a simple, straightforward old machine. That's it. We will not learn this one. It's not required. This the last 4. Only the bridge network and overlay network is important. Okay, so what is the bridge network? Bridge network is a default network, and this is a single host network, something like that. You see the diagram. So these four containers are running in a single machine, in a single Docker machine. In that one we have created four containers, C1, C2, C3, C4. Four containers are there, and these four containers can communicate using bridge network, because bridge is the single host network. Bridge is the single host network, and this is also default network, because it is a single machine. You can communicate with it from C1. If you want to communicate to C2, you can do. From C2 you want to communicate to C3, you can do. From C2 you can want to communicate C2, C4, or C2, C1, you can do. But the communication will happen using bridge network. Okay, fine. And these C1, C2, C3, C4, all container will get a different IP address. Okay, if you go with the overlay network, in that case what will happen? Your container will be running in a different machine. Suppose this is one machine. In this machine four containers are running, C1, C2, C3, C4. In other machine four containers are also running. But and if you want to communicate from C1 to this C2, other machine C2, then how can you do? You have to use overlay network. In that case you can't use bridge network. Okay, so this is overlay, and overlay is a multi-host network. Overlay network is multi-host network, and this is not the default network. Default is a bridge. Okay, IP VLAN or MAC VLAN will be used for legacy applications. Suppose this is your machine where Docker is running and containers are also running, but these container, either container C1, C2, C3, C4, you want to communicate with the legacy application, like that application is running on a other host machine, not on container, directly on host machine. So you have to use IP address of that machine and you can communicate. This is nothing but IP VLAN or MAC VLAN network driver in the Docker. Host is same as, so the same IP address will be assigned to the container, either if it is a one container or 10 container, doesn't matter. IP address for these container will same always, either one container or 10 container, same IP address will be assigned. Okay, that's it. Null means there will be no IP address at all. Okay, fine. So this is all about the basics of Docker networking. In the next session we will see how we can manage the network in Docker, because we have to create the network. If you see here, we have a 4 type of network, 6 type of network driver. So that network driver we have to create the network first in Docker, then only we can use it. By default, bridge network, if you want to use, you don't need to create. So far if you see, we have created the containers, but we have not created any network, because Docker itself is creating one default network named as a bridge network. We'll see in our next session that one. So that's why we are not writing any extra code to creating the network, bridge network, and connecting the container to that network. We are not doing. Automatically your Docker is doing that one. But in case of overlay, we have to do manually. Even we can customize the default bridge network in our container management. We can do that one also. So all those we will see in our next session, managing the network in Docker. Okay, with the help of Docker network command. See how you, if I say you have to manage the Docker image, how will you manage Docker image? Then you write the command like Docker image build, Docker image create, Docker image remove, Docker image push, Docker image pull, like that you are writing. So that is nothing but the managing of image. If I say you how you manage the container, so what you will write, Docker container ls, Docker container run, Docker container create, Docker container stop, Docker container pause, Docker container run, Docker container resume, like that you will do. So that is nothing but the management of container. And if I say you how will you create the volume, so what you write, Docker volume create, Docker volume remove, Docker volume inspect, you will do like that. So that is nothing but the management of the volume. Similarly, if I say you how will you manage the network, so you have to use docker network command. Docker network, then you use ls, will list the network. Docker network create, will create the network. Docker network inspect, will inspect the network. Remove the network. Prune, remove the unused network. Connect, will connect the node to, will connect the container to the network. Disconnect, will disconnect the container from the network. Okay, so all these we will see in our next session. So I hope you like this session. Please subscribe my channel and we will see you in our next session. Till that, bye bye and thanks for watching. Have a nice day.